Hi guys, you're welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be showing you how to draft a princess armhole bustier, a perfect princess armhole bustier. So let's get started. To start with, I'll be measuring out my shoulder measurement, which is 16 inches divided by 2. Then I'll mark my neck width. Then I'm going to mark 1 inches for my shoulder slope, then connect it to my neck width, which is 4 inches. Then I'll come down on that shoulder slope and measure out my armhole depth, which is my bust divided by 6 plus 1.5. Then I'm going to rule a straight line across it. Then on that shoulder line, I'm going to be dividing it into 2. Mine is 8 inches, so I divided into 2. I got 4. Then on that 4 line, I'm going to measure out half inches. That is where we'll be connecting our princess armhole line later on. So I'm just simply connecting the lines to form an armhole. So after that, I'm going to be measuring out my bust point, shoulder to bust point, shoulder to under bust, and then my half length. My shoulder to bust point is 11 inches, 15 inches for my under bust, and 17 inches for my half length. Then I will make a straight line on those lines. I'll simply just label to avoid confusion. So after that, I'm going to be coming from the center of my front piece and mark out my bust span, which is 8 inches divided by 2, that is 4 inches. Then I'll make a straight line on the mark out point. Then I'll come to my under bust and mark out 1.5 inches to the left and half inches to the right. I'll do the same on my under bust line, and then I'll just make a straight line. After that, I'll come to my shoulder to bust point and mark half inches downward. This is where I'll be connecting my curve line. So I'm just simply going to connect in a curve way. If you don't have a curve ruler, it shouldn't be a problem. You can simply use your hand to trace it out. It is that simple. Then the line that we marked out earlier, we are just going to connect to that half inches that we marked out earlier from our shoulder. Then I'll just go ahead and blend it. You can see that we're already having our princess armhole coming out. So on my armhole line, I'm going to be creating a new armhole line, but before that, I'm going to measure out 1.5 inches. Then I will extend the new line that I just marked out by 1.5 inches. This will serve as our new armhole, because if you do not extend it, you are going to run short of fabric while sewing this. That is the whole essence of extending by 1.5 inches. So that is our new armhole curve. Then I just want to mark my neck depth, which is according to preference, depending on how deep or how high you want your neckline to be. I made mine to be 3 inches. Then I connected to my shoulder and my neck width. Then I'm just going to be inputting my measurements and whatever I have taken out as that. I did that for my under armhole, and I also did it for my under bust as well. The 2 inches I took out in my under bust, I replaced it, and I added 2 inches for my sewing allowance, and I am just going to connect those lines. And then we are going to cut out. We are just done for the front part. I really do hope that you get the way I cut out this. I deliberately left the video so that you can see how I cut out carefully. For the back piece, I'm going to be coming to this center of my pattern paper, and then I'm going to mark out my zip allowance. Mine is 1.5 inches, and I made it straight down to the end of the paper, and then I marked out a straight line. After doing that, I went ahead to label, then I marked out my shoulder line after the zipper allowance line. After the zipper allowance line, please do not make this mistake. Then I did the same thing that I did for the front. I marked out my shoulder, marked out my shoulder slope, then I connected to the neck width. One inches for my shoulder slope, then I connected to the neck width. And I'm simply just going to mark out my armhole line again after connecting my neck. Then I'm going to mark out my shoulder to bust point, my shoulder to under bust, and to my waistline. Then I'll do the same thing in order to have a straight line. Then I connected those lines. So on my bust point, my shoulder to bust point, I marked out my bust span, which is 4 inches after my zipper allowance. Please, whatever measurements you'll be inputting should be after the zipper allowance, after the 1.5 inches or whatsoever inches you want to use for your zipper allowance. So on my dart leg, I'm using half inches for my dart intake, so I'll be connecting the half inches line to my bust point line. And then I'm just simply going to be inputting my measurement. But before that, I measure out my zipper bulge. This will allow my zip to sit perfectly on my back, as we know that the back is not a straight line, so it is not straight, so we have to like create that curve part on it. So I marked out half inches. I came in by half inches, then connected to where my shoulder, my neckline started from. So I created a curve, then I connected it to the waistline, and I'm simply just going to input my measurement. My bust is 40 divided by 2, that's 10. Then I added 2 inches for my showing allowance. I forgot to connect my armhole line, so that is what I just did. So I added the 1 inches I took earlier on. Wherever that you are taking out, please ensure to replace it back so that you will not run short of fabric. I'm only adding all my measurements here, and then I am just going to cut everything after connecting it. Then I'll cut out my zipper bulge line that I marked out earlier. And that is all. We just created a princess armhole half length that you can join to your skirt, to your flared skirt,